Why, hello there, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Tomb Raider 2. This is Lara Croft Gaming here, and this is part 21, level 16, the floating islands. It's not called that, it's just called floating islands, and woohoo, got an atmosphere to this one. And yeah, it seems to be actually quite loud, but no, I don't think that'll reverb very much because of the nature of it, so that's alright, so I won't have to turn the volume down at all, I don't think. And you'll have a guess what that thing is over there. It's a statue and they come to life and some of them can fly over. However, that's what the M16's for, is for efficient takedown of them before they get anywhere near, so yeah. Now, back in 2014 I said that this level was, oh god, one of the strangest ever, and it is. But the thing about that is that it's not all. Well, it starts off in an interesting looking island location, but most of the level is not actually spent out there, so it doesn't look quite as interesting. But for me, what makes the impression is where you start off in the level, I guess. So, for this level anyway. The eerie atmospheric soundtrack, the bright green floating islands, and the orangeness does go very nicely together. Hang on a minute. I already killed him. Oh yes, I died. Yeah, I could have edited that out then. Never mind. So yes, and I mentioned a minute ago that was level 16. It's actually the last of the larger levels, actually, because after this there's a few levels, but they're very short, and neither of them actually contain secrets. So the last level, which has secrets in it, is this one, and once again it has 3 dragons. As always, and once again I memorised where they were, so no need to consult Stella on this occasion, but I may need to do that a lot more for Tomb Raider 3, just saying. I think I've said this already several hundred times, but I'm not sure where they got this idea from, to have the floating statues. It's pretty good mechanic. It gets tiresome when you die and you keep having to fight the same statues over, but never mind that. And graphically, this level still looks very nice, even though it's kind of a novelty. It still holds up well. They don't all hold up well. Some of them don't look as good today, but even the sky doesn't look too bad. Spent 8 days of my life editing this. Did I say 8 days? Well, it felt like it wasn't quite that long, but it was. Oh, 3 or 4 maybe. And the video itself was only about an hour and 50 minutes long, but I found it a short edit because I knew for a fact that that not all of that was progress, and it turns out yes, it wasn't, because actually it only took about an hour and 10 minutes to finish the level overall, so there's all that extra was once again just redoing the same things over and over again, so yeah. Now there's two different types of statue. The ones with the swords fly, the ones without the swords don't, but the ones without the swords can move very quickly on land, and they can get you easier with giant spears, so it's best to jump away from them where they can't get you, attack them from a safe distance. Well, what I normally do is use the pistols for that, because the pistols don't use ammunition, so I'm not at a disadvantage to do that. Now, you could leave them alive and try and do what you're doing, but hey, I don't have those talents. I like how we've got lanterns on. That's a nice touch. A nice touch. And there is a trick to. You saw me die while trying to get a plaque. I've revealed what it is before I pick it up. Oops. It's so hard to post commentary and keep it. It pretends that I don't know what's going on. I do. I've played the game several times. You know, to help that anyone who watches it has already played the game. So already knows what goes on, so there's not a spoiler. Honestly, if you haven't played the game before, probably better to watch a blind Let's Play, because they won't know what's going on. So the gimmick is that you can destroy the statues with the grenade gun. Now, you can only do that in the PlayStation version. You can't do it in the PC version, I believe. And thus the iOS version I played, you couldn't destroy them with the grenades there, so you can only do this in the PlayStation version, which is quite unique. Because I've tried doing the iOS version, it doesn't work. You just waste your grenades. But in the PlayStation version, you can make them disappear without having to fight them. That is the coward's way out. But if you like to save time, that would probably be the best way to do it. Now, you can get the plaques in any order. It doesn't matter, you can get them on the island first, I can get the one in the house. But you do need to get both of them. Otherwise you can't. Vacate the area very successfully, now can you? You could skip the level, but that'd be cheating. Right. And plus the cheats in this game are so hard they're not worth bothering with. And considering the game itself is not that hard, apart from a few levels that they're not worth bothering with. In general, except the one where she explodes, that's funny. I don't think I've ever used it myself though. I've seen it being done. I've observed it. And like with more things, I haven't bothered. Rather just watch it being done. So there's a secret there, and I had some trouble actually getting up there for some reason, despite the fact I've played the game before several times. It's quite tricky to get up there, so I had to figure that right. And that secret would normally be the second secret in the level, because it's the green one, so. And yeah, the secrets are all over the place in some of the levels with the ordering. But in this level, the gold one is actually the last one you find, so that's right and correct with me, in my opinion. Unfortunately, getting that secret has knocked the atmospheric soundtrack off, so now I've just got the sound of the walking around and hopping off the ledge. And for me, it's a bit too bright, the colour. It's like, whoa. It's like, this level could be straight out of a cartoon. I suppose that's the joke, really. It's the brightness of the green. I'll mention that it looks a bit Spyro-esque. But those of you who know that Tomb Raider 2 came out before the original Spyro. Maybe they're a bit inspired by this level, some of the platforming, I don't know. But yes, there were like platformers out before then, which this may have taken inspiration from. But yes, I do like the obscurity of navigating these floating islands, because it literally just is a bunch of floating islands. And I think if they'd kept the entire level like that, it would have been even better. Sadly, they didn't quite do that, but the opening area at least is interesting. So what I'm saying is the level does tend to get more boring once you open that door, but it's still action-packed, as you'd expect. So there are loads of enemies and what have you, so... Oh! No, I did not. Right. It's blindingly obvious that care about this, I don't know, but care about the lines on the screen. It is annoying, but at the same time, I don't care. So, but there's this nagging feeling I should have sorted the Scar problem out, and that building up there's where it came from. I don't know why I felt the need to stand there looking at it for about 10 hours, but there you go, I did. Oh, but these statues can catch you unawares. They can spring up from nowhere, seemingly go right up to you, and you don't hear them until they make the oh noise. And I had two spring up on me at once. No matter the M16 will make short work, or the Uzis if they're that close. So you know. There's our second plaque. So now, I complain about the birds, but no, I'm not supposed to disturb just the people. Ooh. No, you know what? Birds are part of the atmosphere, really. It's no good to complain about them too much for that. Yeah, rabbiting on about again. I've got our soundtrack back. Got it back. This is crazy. What am I doing, by the way? But yes, I have got a new Scarlet Eden. I haven't tested it, but it ought to be a damn sight better than the one I had, so that problem should disappear. And if it doesn't, I guarantee that I'll be smacking my head against the wall, screaming over and over again. 36 weeks, but no. God, I'm always into something, that's for sure. Well, I don't know why I said that. But yeah, GTA 5 has the music on it. In fact, so do most GTA games, to be honest. From 3 anyway. I've seen footage of the first two, not 3D, and my god, they are rubbish. Probably alright to play, but my god. And the camera just seems to be zooming in and zooming out all the time. Which would do your eyes in quite quickly. Well, the irony is Driver got there first, but Grand Theft Auto made it. Got there. This Driver is very similar to how Grand Theft Auto is now, but it did it first, but it wasn't quite as interactive sort of thing, but you could go all over the place in those games. And that was in the 90s. My sad life. Oh, I don't care. After all, I didn't choose to exist. I just exist by default. Really, I didn't want to live. Yep, and I do love this this ominous chanting. I'm sure I remember already commentating over this, but of course I haven't. I've just edited this. Right. The sword guy, I don't know how on earth he got there in the first place. Probably committing suicide. Oh, isn't the killing her? Right. So the stone dragon is in here. To be honest, I think it's more well hidden than the jade one, which is a bit strange, but there you go. Since it is the lesser of the two dragons. The lesser of the three dragons, indeed, so. In reality, however, the only difference is the colour, but the gold ones are the most important, obviously. These are normally the hardest to find. Not that it matters. You don't actually win anything like collecting them, or extra ammunition and stuff like that. So yeah, this is the last of the full levels of this game. No matter, I've got Tomb Raider 3 soon. And that, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do for that in terms of editing, because, Jesus Christ, most of the levels are like 4 hours long. Which I've already said, so why I'm saying it again I do not know. But yes, I can't wait to start recording with the lines not being there, sort of thing. It doesn't affect the gameplay, it doesn't affect the sound. It's just a visual thing that it affects, but never mind. I thought it was the capture card at first, but it isn't. Aren't those green borders? Now, I should explain that I got stuck at this part of the level for far longer than I should have done, due to being bamboozled once again. Eventually I did have to look up what you do because I forgot. You see, I thought you had to I died again. Oh, dear. I shouldn't really record when I'm sat like this. Good God. Oh, I was always into something, alright. Because I thought that you had to open the door down there, so I went down here looking for some kind of lever. And as you might be able to discover, there isn't one here. There isn't anything down here, so. You said what? Yes, I could have cut that out. There was a few seconds of you just standing there. I don't like to leave it standing there, because this is a video that you're viewing on the internet. So all you do by going on there is activate this guy. That's brilliant. Back when it didn't take itself too seriously, too rare, it could be fun. Nowadays, however, so there's nothing down here. This is what confused me. Every time I play this level, I seem to fall in the same trap of forgetting that you're not really supposed to come down here at all. Really, but there's literally no point. So why is it even there? Well, maybe there was supposed to be something to it in the beta version, but even then I don't think so. So I always get confused with this level, because I always seem to forget. It throws me off, is what it is, yeah. I always like I can't remember what you do. Because I can't. I don't remember everything about this game. Despite the number of times I play it. Things go out of my mind. Things. Anyway. And I don't know how I feel about this level overall. Because although I feel that I like how unusual it is, it's probably not my favourite level in this game. Because it's good, but it's I don't know. It's kind of all over the place, really. Because you see, when I did the 2-hour special, I put it in my top 10 levels of all time. But now that I think about it, there's a level I don't think it would be these days, but that's not changing anytime soon. It's been turned up for him. Oh, it's a forum. 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 I won't go back. You don't try to make me. Always doing something stupid. Oh, tell TLR online that my forum would be bigger than his soon. Of course, it probably never will be. Speaking of, what's the word I'm looking for? A troll of some description. Oh. One day, but I'm dead. Yeah, the atmospheric subject has gone off again, and which is I love to just hear Lara's footsteps. I'd rather, thankfully, for the next game they fixed that problem, but I don't know why it was there in the first place. I think it was just a glitch that they forgot to take out. You've got to remember that these games, only about 6 people in total worked on them, so and they have to bring them out every year back in the day. So you wouldn't get that now. Heck, you probably get 5 or 6 years between games these days. That's how laxative it is. Which I think, in one way, is a bit too extreme. Having yearly sequels is a bit much, but at the same time, leaving it half a decade between games is a bit too far in the other direction. That said, talking about Grand Theft Auto, you can probably understand the reason why. Is because it definitely would take like almost 10 years to make one of those games because of the giganticness of what's required or what's needed. It's good that you still play it online, even though it came out 7 years ago. I've never bothered to play the online version because I think it's a bit, I don't know, I think it's a bit of a wet letter, so I'd rather just play it on the console, really. Like it was intended to start off with. Not the PS4 version, the original version, with the inferior graphics. Yeah, the one that broke my Xbox, that one. Because the Xbox was a low gigabyte one, and I had to buy a separate memory stick just to accommodate the game. So I had to buy a memory stick just for Grand Theft Auto. My god. So it turns out that I wasted a fuckload of time getting nowhere for no reason. However, oh my god, a giant Japanese hornet has just flown in. No, it hasn't. I don't live in. If it did, there's always the possibility that might happen. Hey, I couldn't even attract the native hornets in my flat, never mind those ones. I suppose I had the bathroom window open all year, from May till November. Every day I might attract one in. But then I'd be able to film it and put it on YouTube. Then of course I'd let it outside again. Go and do its thing. Oh dear. The problem is though it's already been done. It's already been done. Get about 5 views at the most. Nevertheless, never mind, because most of the stuff I've done has already been done anyway, so well, the video's frozen. I've gotten the audio but not the video. It's a bit irritating. But like I said, this computer is a real POS. Because I can't even run Microsoft Paint without crashing, never mind anything else. So I can't even run a Microsoft Word properly. I'm doing Let's Play videos on it. But like I said, I'm looking for a new computer. In theory, because I haven't started looking yet. Oh, right, with these ones, they come alive when you pull that lever, but not if you get rid of them first. So that means I only have to fight one of them instead of all three. And considering the facts that those ones are hard to avoid and you can't jump off to another island to avoid them, that's the best strategy in that case. But like I said, on the iOS version I couldn't have that luxury, so I had to fight them all three of them. So if you can run away from them, but then again they do move really quickly, I'm not so sure you'll be able to do that very well. But yeah, I mean, yes. But for me, I don't know, because I think that what I was doing when I was doing the Tomb Raider Specialist, but like standout levels in terms of not necessarily the best levels, but the standout levels of the series. And in terms of standout levels, at least the original part of this level has got to be one of the standout levels of this game, certainly. Just for its visuals, if nothing else. So yeah, if it was the top 10 standard levels, but then I didn't know is put that much effort into things back then. I guess I'd summarise, because when I got to know Tomb Raider 2 properly, I found that yes, and I could argue that the deck is probably more of a standard level than this one in some ways. Oh, the Tibetan foothills and the snowiness, but because of its unusualness, of course I had to put Floating Islands as one of the top 10 levels of all time. And I think it was a mixture, really, of standout levels and favourite levels, really. I don't think it was a consistent mix of anything. Though Japan really is one of my favourite levels and everything of Tomb Raider Legend, because it genuinely is really good. Only if more of the levels had actually been as enjoyable as that, then I think we would have had a better game. That said, the game was too short anyway, so I don't think it would have been that much better, but it would have been better than it was slightly. But I don't know how much better it would have been. But yes, if you do an action-oriented level in a city in a modern game, that level is quite good. It doesn't quite measure up to London in Tomb Raider 3, however. But then, you know, that was from a better era of gaming in general. I mean, you're not going to measure up to that very often, if I'm honest. So and all these idiots saying Tomb Raider 4 should have been a PS2 title, so that they knew what they were doing in Angel of Darkness. I don't think it would have made a difference, personally. I think the issues with Angel of Darkness were not entirely down to the fact it was on PS2. A lot of them were, but the levels themselves weren't that inspiring. But it did look graphically decent enough, and the character model was good and everything, and you know, I still think core design would have went out of business eventually. There wasn't a lot of money floating around or manpower, so and what would have happened eventually in any case, in my opinion. But and then people saying it alternates between Chronicles should have been a PS2 title, Tomb Raider 4 should have been a PS2 title. Well, I can see the argument for Chronicles being a PS2 title, so that they got to know the dev software. Well, the argument for Tomb Raider 4 being a PS2 title, they'd have to delay it for at least another year, and they pretty much weren't going to do that. They'd actually been working on Tomb Raider 4 since 1997, and it was in development for 2 years, so... And while Tomb Raider 4 was in development, they put Tomb Raider 3 out in between, so... They started working on Tomb Raider 4 on an all-new engine, basically, after the part Tomb Raider 2, and so then Tomb Raider 3 was the last game on the original engine, so to speak, and Tomb Raider 4 and Chronicles came out on the next engine, which was largely based on this engine, but quite a leap forward in terms of graphics. Obviously more PC oriented, PlayStation oriented. So the PlayStation versions don't look that much of a leap from this game right here, but the gameplay is the same, and surely that is what matters. Yep. I do think the design of this level in general is interesting, even when you've got past the islands. But for me, the gameplay is a little uninspired. And I think I know the reason why. I think it's because that these levels, the ones where you go back to China, they're a bit like the first level, the Great Wall, and many of the traps are just recycled from that, so you're well familiar with them by this point. That's no bad thing. I'm just remarking that. Maybe it's me sinking off all the times I played it, but no, the bit where you're on the islands is the easy part. It's the part that doesn't take itself too seriously. The rest of the level gets harder, and there are bits that are tricky. I can definitely see the appreciation of that. It's only when it gets too difficult when I start complaining, you know. But that shouldn't happen here, except it does on a certain part towards the end of the level, where you have to do back jumping and all that sort of thing. I'm not into that, so naturally I don't enjoy it. So she's not very good at it, for one thing. So she keeps dying for ages. So yeah, there are parts where I struggle, there are parts where